viewing audience. And what I would like for you to do is please share that poem with us on tonight.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen Spurlock. I'm a board member of the First Coast Leadership Foundation, a mentor through the Mentoring to Thrive program, and an advocate for empowerment throughout many Duval and St. John's communities. A big thank you to the Impact Radio Show, Florida Star, and Nahshon for the opportunity to present this poem. The poem I'm about to read is one I wrote recently to discuss oppression, distractions, grace, and acceptance. It is entitled Letter to the Tree. Dear tree, why is that fruit hanging so low? It is left alone just to die slow. Why are they so excited below? Are they afraid the fruit might grow? Enough is enough, it's time to rise. Let's band together and challenge these lies. Stay strong and together so no fruit dies. I'm tired of hearing all of the cries. We must overcome the system. We can no longer allow ourselves to be a victim. Unite as one and use God's wisdom. For our glory will be given in his kingdom. As we rise, the system changes. It's decided to change us. The people that are the system interchanges. Authority remains one of the biggest dangers. Hanging from you has been replaced. The defenseless are still being chased. Stand your ground and you will be erased. The change needed is not being embraced. It's not accepted by those with power. Say Black Lives Matter and they use firepower. They ask you to submit while in their tower. March into a tear gas shower while they overpower. Some say we need to cancel culture. Others pounce on protests like a vulture. Now is the time we need to nurture. We need to stop and consider our future. The tree is full of many branches. Time to speak life and not waste chances. Embrace diversity and maximize what it enhances. Act out of love so God's kingdom advances. We are God's children and we need to unify as one. Everyone needs to put down the gun. Our sins are undone because of God's Son. He fought our battle and he's already won. That was something that I wrote, like I was listening to some music and it just kind of got me introspective, and I wanted to kind of shed light on some of the things that we all face, and it's a distraction in God's kingdom. This worldly place that we're in, there's so many things that distract us, but we need to love one another. We need to uplift one another and be positive role models for each other.
Yes, and I want to say power to the people.
Indeed, bro. Indeed.
Right on, Mrs. Spurlock. You were just listening to Stephen Spurlock, aka White Chocolate, drop of knowledge. And thank you so much for your and wonderful poem. And once again, this will be repurposed on different media outlets. So thank you, Mrs. Spurlock. Once again,
thank you for having me.
And once again, for our listener viewing audience, to listen to the Impact Radio Show presented by the Florida Star newspaper, one of the oldest Black-owned newspapers in the South. Please get up, get out, and subscribe to the Florida Star newspaper. We have over 30,000 subscribers between the Georgia Star and the Florida Star. So promote your product, your business, your service, your event. TheFloridaStar.com, TheFloridaStar.com, TheFloridaStar.com. With that being said, we're going to move on to our next guest. I want to make sure I pronounce this correctly. Is it pronounced DUHVU? Mr. Rogers, is it pronounced DUHVU?
DUHVU.
DUHVU. All right. And what does that mean? Talk to us about that.
So, okay. You go ahead. Yeah. You go ahead, speak. Okay. So DUHVU is, it basically stands, it originally stand for DLVFU. And that stood for Don't Let the Virgin Fool You. And back then we were abstinent speakers at the time, motivational speakers, and we taught abstinence. And now, because we were married, we were virgins at the time, but now that we're married, it's no longer that way. So now we're called DUHVU, DUHVU. And basically that means I'm me, so it's okay to be you.
Am I looking at the same person in two screens?
Some may say. Some may say we're twins. Fraternal, though. Fraternal. Everybody says
y'all part of the same fraternity, and then y'all start looking like after the fraternity pledge.
Well, I'm the only Sigma. I'm the only Sigma, and he's not a Sigma. I'm the only Sigma. So
okay. So all right. So he walked solo. You walk together. Is that what that means? You throwing up?
That is absolutely
but anyways,
correct.
Well, listen, you all have a film that's coming out. Can you tell our listening and viewing audience a little bit about the movie that you all produced and the purpose behind it?
So the name of the it's a short film called Tired of Asking, and basically what it's about a husband who gets tired of asking his wife for sex, and so he winds up committing adultery, and it's they have this big debacle about it, and we're doing a powwow on this Saturday about just the conversation of adultery, and from the men's perspective and from the women's perspective, because oftentimes they have two different viewpoints. So we wanted to get in there and hash it out and see not so much who's right and who's wrong, but just to see, everybody's point of view.
Okay, and what inspired this film?
So a lot of times, with me being a married dude, and I have a lot of married friends, and just talking to single brothers, all period. The conversation about married, when we talk about marriage, it would always be the same. How before marriage, it was always blossoming, but then after, as far as sex goes and things of that nature. But then when you got married, everything just seemed.
I'm trying to keep a straight face on. I'm here blossoming. I'm thinking about fruit from trees and watermelons and grapefruits.
Unicorns and bubbles. And then after a while, what happens is the relationship starts to die down, and a lot of husbands are finding themselves asking for that romantic thing to happen. So so that actually inspired the movie to basically stop infidelity and actually have a conversation about it. And see where the misstep between the two is, between the husband and the wife.
Now, where does powwow come from? Are you all Native American? Like, what is that about?
So the powwow is a forum where we actually sit down and discuss topics that affect our community, and there's no topic that's off limits. We discuss every single thing, and basically what we do, we get around, we put topics, anonymous topics inside of a hat, and then we pull it out, and then we just, as a congregation, we just speak on it. And if you have something to say, you raise your ticket, you raise your popsicle stick, as they say, your sign, and say, hey, I would like to say something about it, 2 minutes or so, and then you give how you feel about it, and it's a great thing.
All right, so I know it's going to be a whole lot of man bashing, so I can't wait to get the feedback from this. And then I'm going to wear a T-shirt in the back saying "Love, not hate." So
that's correct. That's correct. That's correct.
But where is this viewing and showing taking place? And talk slow enough for people to be able to write this down.
Not a problem. So this Saturday on June 26th at the Majestic Event Complex. That's on 5870 Norwood Avenue. It's going to be from 6 to 8. And if you want to get tickets, you can follow us at DUHVU. Go to our Facebook, and as soon as you click there, it'll show the link where you can buy the tickets. Now they're going fast. I think we maybe have the most, last time I checked, maybe 10. So make sure you get it as soon as possible. And that's how you can get everything you need.
All right. And how do people follow you too on social media? What are your handles?
So we have, and you can just look, I don't know if you guys can see it. You can follow us on DUHVU TV on TikTok, just DUHVU on Facebook, DUHVU TV on YouTube, and DUHVU on Instagram. That's DUHVU.
Yeah, we just had a very powerful Juneteenth, and like I said, there's no way we can get more. Well, as I guess Steve Harvey put it like this, he said, "There's no way we can have little Christians if we ain't coming together." So
this is true.
So we got to find a way to come together. We got to celebrate love, and we got to celebrate Black love. And I really appreciate what you all are bringing in a very tasteful manner. And thank you for being a representation of Black excellence in your craft. So
thank you so much.
Yes, make sure y'all sign up for DUHVU Did I pronounce it right? DUHVU.
DUHVU.
You're right, DUHVU.
DUHVU.
Yeah.
On Instagram, on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. Please follow these brothers this Saturday, 5870 Norwood Avenue. And what time is this again?
It's from 6 to 8. We are doing an early. You can come in as early as 5:30, but you want to hurry up and get your seats. And we also will be going live tomorrow on DUHVU page live to talk more about it. So you guys check it out.
And we're giving away a 50-inch television. It's being wrapped about. So you definitely got guys. Yeah.
Man, I need that TV. We're doing a STEAM summer camp, and I need the kids to be able to see. I want them to be able to read on screen. Listen, everybody. Well, thank you so much to the Roger brothers, Roger twins, fraternity twins, throwing it up both ways. And thank you for joining us on tonight. Listen, everybody, I want you to stay locked and stay loaded because we're going to a very serious and empowerment segment coming up with Wealth Watchers, Miss Nikki Terry, and the National Home Ownership Month, because we need everybody to get on the bus. And we'll be right back after these messages. You listen to the Impact Radio Show. This is your host, Nahshon Nix. All right, we're on commercial break right now. Gentlemen, thank you so much. And this will be live on social media, and I'll make sure that you get this as well, so that way you can always repurpose it for your event. Mr. Ed Gaston is doing this right.
How did you fund your film? How did you fund it?
Actually, so what we can't hear you. We can't hear you. So we go ahead.
He said, "How did you fund your show?"
So actually, we just did it just through ourselves. We actually, when we recorded it, we actually just did it through my brother has a company called Rise. There you go. Speak.
I'm back. I'm sorry, my thing was on mute. So yeah, we did it with a camera, actually an iPhone, and we just pushed it on Facebook. Really, that's really what we did, and just we got a big turnout with it.
And we're back with the Impact Radio Show. You're listening to one of the twins. I think it's a Marathon. The other one is Speak Truth or Turf. It's something like that. And they got a great film that they're releasing this Saturday, June 26th, 5870 Norwood Avenue. But you can follow them online, and all their handles is DUHVU. DUHVU. Y'all want to get in there if you want to get a good laugh, argument, spectate, fly on the wall. I got to see this because I already know it's about to go down this Saturday. They said 8. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be out that early. Somebody got something to say about this. I'm tired of asking. That's what he said, and I'm just saying what he said in the film. So. And then Mr. Gaston wanted to know how they funded the film. And I think that's a great question. So, and how did y'all fund the film again?
So actually, it was mostly out of pocket, to be honest. We just kind of did it out of pocket and didn't want to wait, just, God-given, and went with it. So
there says no time like the present.
So yeah.
All right, and we're back and we're live. Once again, we got Miss Nikki Terry with us. Miss Nikki Terry, went and bought all your friends from the Magic School Bus. You want all of us to get on the bus. Where are you taking us on this bus, Miss Nikki Terry?
Oh, we're going for a ride to home ownership today, Pastor. And I got the crew with me who can make it happen. DrMelissa Chester, as you can see her glowing in that red, Delta red for the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, Jacksonville chapter. And then I have Ed, he's glowing red all the time for the Cap Alpha Psi chapters of Alabama. And he's coming bringing it with Wealth Watchers, the home team for home ownership counseling. So we at Truist are just so happy that they have partnered with us and the Jacksonville Housing Authority to come together to bring home ownership to our community, because that is where wealth building starts, with home ownership. But they can tell you about it better than I can anytime, Pastor.
All right, so Dr. Chester, I've known you for a while. Can you kind of share a couple of success stories or a success story about someone who may have said, listen, I want to own a home, but I don't see this happening because my credit is shot. I went through a bad divorce, my student loans. Nobody in my family has ever owned a home. Do you have any success stories that you can share with our listening and viewing audience? You got to unmute yourself.
Of course, we can share success stories. I think my most favorite success story is the 71-year-old seasoned saint that I assisted in getting her first home. I mean, she was an educator. She actually has one of the rooms named after her, the library named after her at Paxton High School. And here it is, she had never owned a home, and she bought her first home at 71 years young. I think she was probably my favorite just because of her age, and she let people her age know that it can be done. She had lived in apartments all her life. She had never owned a home. And so I think she was probably my most favorite. And then there are so many others, Nahshon, there are too many to name, but I mean, just like you said, it is a complete joy to watch someone who thought that they could never own a home, and then them get that home for the first time. You know, I guess my second favorite would be the young man who was sleeping in his car. He was sleeping in his car, but you know, he decided this is not what I want. And he put in the work to be able to move into buying his own home. And he actually just finished up my real estate class. So now he's going to become a real estate agent because he wants to assist others in home ownership.
All right, now I want you to understand what I try to remain sensitive, Dr. Chester, to people and their needs. For those of you that may not know, I worked in social services, a lot of what you would call at-risk communities from DUHVU to Washington Heights Apartments, which is now Callaway Cove. And when something becomes generational, my great-grandmama lives in building A, my grandmama lives in building B, my mama lives in building C, I live in building D, and it becomes permanent temporary housing. And when we look at the benefits of home ownership, Ms. Nikki, Mr. Ed, or Dr. Chester, can y'all talk about the benefits of home ownership for just a moment?
Well, first and foremost, you said it, having your own, you said that sense of permanency. You talked about temporary. You know, at any time, that situation can change based on where you are. Are you in a rental home? If that landlord decides, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore, then guess what? You're not doing it anymore either, right? That's what happened with my mother. My mother actually literally rented the same home for 27 years, like no joke. And then the homeowner passed away. And when her children got the home and stopped paying the property taxes, my mother was displaced from that home after 27 years of renting. And we had grown up in the projects and moved into a rental home. My mom still had that mindset of renting. And so just the permanence of always having somewhere to go, for you and your family members to always have a safe space. There is nothing more important than that within itself, you know, not to mention the equity that you build in homes. You know, you can use that money to pay for school, to fix up the home, to pay off debt if an emergency occurs, you know, whereas when you're renting, you're paying someone else's mortgage, right? You're paying someone else's mortgage, or you're just throwing money in the trash. I mean, those two things alone they're invaluable.
And now another thing, you mentioned the displaced, and maybe not as frequent here on the East Coast, but on the West Coast, they're not considered homeless if they live in their vehicle. I don't believe that anybody should have to live in their car. And granted, I want to make sure that I'm very sensitive to this. I'm not trying to be condescending to anyone that lives in a HUD property or public housing. I'm not trying to be insensitive. What I'm looking at is a shift of that paradigm shift and that sense of ownership and empowerment from having your own. That's all I'm talking about. And I'm not trying to be condescending in any way. But a lot of times, Dr. Chester and Ms. Nikki Terry, when people are long-term renters, they don't really have a credit history, because the only time renting hits their credit traditionally is if they're being evicted. So how does that work? You know, I got an eviction notice on my credit, but I was paying rent on time for 10 years. a pandemic happened, you know, how do we overcome that obstacle?
You know, Pastor Nix, one thing that we need to recognize as African Americans, some of the wealth and growth disparity that happens to us, it happens because of things that have been in place for a long time. And systemic racism as it regards to credit challenges, opportunities for credit, opportunities to grow our wealth and our income. You know, those are the first obstacles. So when I personally engaged with families who've had those challenges, I've got eviction. It's been a pandemic. I expect to move forward, but trying to figure out how to overcome those obstacles. That's what we have to do. One, we have to challenge the system that created this systemic racism pool of constant obstacles for us. And we need to challenge them on every aspect that we can, in banking, in housing, in leadership, so that we can say, what did you expect the outcome to be when you set me up for this outcome? So we have to bring a voice together. And that's what we're doing with this event. We're bringing a voice together. We're bringing the real estate voice together, the housing counseling community voice together, and the lending voice together to say, get on the bus to home ownership. If we have these obstacles, COVID-19, challenges with your credit, you are offered a higher interest rate than the counterpart who went in to buy, and therefore you defaulted. They're in ownership, but you defaulted on the vehicle that you bought because that was the challenge from the beginning. You had that obstacle. They were going to give you the higher interest rate and it wasn't affordable, but you had to get to work. So you had to get the car. Challenges for even obtaining credit. So, and you know, Ed can speak on that because he's seeing clients every day at Wealth Watchers who have problems with their credit and he's trying to get them resolved so that he can send them over for housing counseling or housing and home ownership.
All right, now for those who are listening live and watching live, can you please tell them the address, time, registration, if any, for the event this Saturday? I mean, for the Get on the Bus event.
And you were correct. It is this Saturday. It is this Saturday. It's in partnership and collaboration with several of us. As she stated, the Jacksonville Association of Real Estate Brokers. We are the local board chapter for the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, Wealth Watchers, Truist Bank, BBVA, now PNC. All of us are coming together. The Jacksonville Housing Authority, Ross, but it's the Ross subsection. We're all going to come together and we're going to meet over on Ramona Boulevard. We're going to meet at the apartments, Victory Point Apartments. And just as Nikki said, we're going to let them know that everyone should have hope. And HOPE is an acronym that I came up with that is home ownership is possible for everyone. You know, we have to understand that home ownership is possible for everyone, you know, and everyone has to get on the bus. I say it's a path to home ownership. And what we must understand is that that path is different for everyone. That's one thing that we have to understand. You may get there in a month. I may take a year. I may take 2 years, but it is possible for us all if we just know who to reach out for assistance. And so we're collectively collaborating to make sure that we bring you all facets and aspects to assist you in that for any obstacle that you may run upon on your path to home ownership.
And what time is this? What's the start and end time for this event?
The event starts at noon, guys. It starts at noon. It runs to 3. Now we know how we like to do Black folk. It starts at noon. We need you there at noon. You know, we don't want you with it's not over until 3, and you show up at 2:30 and all the good stuff gone. The gift cards, the free bank account they were gonna start with you for $50 in it. The food, the giveaway for the TV. You missed it all because you decided, oh, I still got 30 more minutes. The event starts promptly at noon, right? And when it starts at noon, we're not stopping for nobody.
Yes. All right. So I do have to take a pause for the cause. You're listening to the Impact Radio Show presented by the Florida Star newspaper. This is your host, Nahshon Nix, and we'll be right back after these messages. All right. When we come back, we're going to have about 4 minutes at the most, but we're still recording and we're still live. So if y'all can call out the handles, like for example, the address, location, again, I know we said Victory Point, but if you can give them all the handles one more time for the event this Saturday, please.
Okay.
Well, you can do that now because like, so we're still live. We're still rolling.
You said when we come back, we follow directions. I'm sorry.
Yes, we do.
We're on break on the radio, but we live with record.
I'm sorry. Nikki, what's the address to Victory Point?
Victory Point Community. Most of the events will be held right at the community center site. The address is 6750 Ramona Boulevard, 6750 Ramona Boulevard. The west side, just follow the signs to the entry. And the location, Victory Point Community Center. 6750 Ramona Boulevard is the location for the event on Saturday, starting at 12 noon.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're listening to the Impact Radio Show presented by the Florida Star newspaper. This is your host, Nahshon Nix. You're just listening to Miss Nikki Terry call out. Get on the bus. They got the Magic School bus coming through Ramona, Victory Point, this Saturday from noon to 3 p.m. You want to make sure that you're putting yourself in a position to prosper. And home ownership is empowerment. And I haven't had a chance to talk to my big brother, Mr. Gaston. You want to say something on this. So how you feeling on the night, sir?
I'm feeling good, and I'm happy to be here. And of course, I agree with everything that's been said. Saturday's event is going to allow several people to come through the event and get a quick assessment as to where they are and how long it's going to take for them to become homeowners. And at the end of the day, we all agree that we are woke and we understand that homeownership is one of the major steps to wealth. So you hear all of this going on. We're telling you now, you need to own it, meaning you need to own that dirt. So we want you to be there Saturday.
Yes. And now, Ms. Nikki Terry, how did you come to this particular collaboration? How did you find these team members and pull this in together like this?
Well, I tell you, I like to gravitate towards power and strong leaders, and so that I can learn and I can grow. And when we're thinking of home ownership and the mission of JREB, the Jacksonville Association of Real Estate Brokers, and Ed Gaston, who always has been a mover in the needle of home ownership, that has been his mantra of wealth building. I almost think Ed might have started it, building generational wealth, but because I hadn't heard it before I met him. And their initiatives, I just wanted to tag in. I said, I want a part of that. Let's get this thing going and let's see how far we can take it and build home ownership in the African-American community.
Yes. And I did hear about what's going on in Victory Point, but I want to know how I can get something like this going at the First Coast Leadership Foundation as well, because we do have access, we do have space available, and this is something that's very important to us as well, because our mission is battlegrounds to playgrounds, and even though Jacksonville has a very high rate of crime, that's not the only aspect that we're looking to shift from a battleground to playground. A playground is a healthy, vibrant, thriving community, healthy, vibrant, thriving neighborhood. And those are the things that are very valuable. So I would really love to see how we can set something up out of our facility as well. Because I know people are listening now, but like I said, Jacksonville is so large, and this event may not be in their geographical setting per se, but like I said, I'm definitely letting you know that we are open and we are on board, and we want the bus to stop at our location.
And you have the youngsters, Pastor Nick, so we want to get them as early as possible.
Yes.
So Dr. Chester and Monique, there is home ownership, but it's also wealth. So with everything from 4-H clubs to youth loans programs, we can bring those to you. And I think you already know that you're on the map, you're on the path. We're going to be knocking on your door to ensure that everyone you touch receives the information we have.
Yes, yes. And like I said, I got to put another shameless plug out for the Florida Star newspaper. It's one of the oldest Black-owned newspapers in the South. One of the ways that I want to make sure we're talking about celebrating Juneteenth, which is 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. When it comes to good information, for some reason, it moves so slow. And we got to support media outlets that get us the information in real time. Get to this event this Saturday at Victory Point on Ramona Boulevard from noon to 3 p.m. I want y'all to meet, take pictures with Miss Nikki Terry. I'm coming through too. I'm adjusting my schedule. I'm coming through. Because I want to be in a position of power as well. And I want to make sure that we're also encouraging our people to ownership. We can do this. And thank you, Dr. Chester, for your testimony, because we never look at somebody's going to put us out, but it can happen, and it is a reality, and it happens so often. And I've heard the horror stories. You know, I've been paying my rent on time, but the owner never paid the mortgage, and they foreclosed the home, and they put us out, and they kicked us out, and I've heard these horror stories, and people have to make these quick pivots that put them further and further in the hole. So thank you all for what you do. We're over our time, but I will say, as I always say, knowledge is power. Knowledge of self is powerful. Knowledge of God is the source of all power. Please support the Florida Star newspaper. I love you. God bless you, and good night.